Yesterday we drove from Ohio to Michigan and we went through Indiana. And today
we are going back to Indiana to go to Indiana Dunes National Park, which is actually dog friendly for most of the trails, which is great. So we can bring Loki with us. We have a few hikes planned and we'll see what there is to see at one of the newest national parks in the country. It was only designated a national park, I think 5 years ago. 2019 or 3 years ago. I'll have to check. I'll let you know.
let's go. We just stopped in at the Indiana Dunes National Park Visitor Center and we picked up our America the Beautiful Pass, annual pass, because ours had expired, and got all of the maps.
Park map.
And I got some postcards because I filled out the visitor sign-in. They didn't actually have any for sale, which was weird. I asked the person and they said that they weren't expecting to be open until Memorial Day. And so a lot of the stuff that they would normally have for sale wasn't here yet. So I was like, okay. And then I saw that I could get some for free. So, Brucey bonus.
The other nice thing is that this national park is pet friendly. And so they even have a pet guide for the park. Loki can go pretty much everywhere with us except for the lifeguarded station of one beach and two trails, which are marshy trails. We didn't want to take him in there anyway. So other than that, he is free to go with us on all the other trails. We're going to head over to West Beach for our first stop. We're going to go on the Dune Succession hike, which is a short hike that takes you over top of a sand dune, which should be fun.
Let's go. We've just started out on the Dune Succession Trail. It is a 0.8 mile loop trail. And of course there's a train. But we have to go up a lot of stairs. All of those stairs. So our calves are gonna get what is it with me and trains? Our calves are gonna get a workout today. We've almost made it to the beach. We just climbed up and over the first dune, and something I think that's really cool that I wasn't expecting. When you hear dunes, you just think, like not flat sand, but like hills of flat sand. But there's actually like all kinds of trees and vegetation here, but then the sand is underneath it. So it's a pretty cool little ecosystem going on here.
One of the things I was telling Jamie is that this national park is the fourth most diverse ecological system out of all of the national parks, all 63, which I thought was kind of interesting as well. One of the reasons they designated it a national park 5 years ago. The more you know. So this park is basically 20 miles of ocean or lakefront, 20 miles of coastline along Lake Michigan. And there's beaches and obviously sand dunes, but there's also some historic buildings we'll take you to later. But one of the cool things is that when you're on the beach, you can look right across the lake and see the skyline of Chicago right over my shoulder here.
So I knew that they were called Great Lakes. It's the 5 Great Lakes, and I've been to the one in Chicago that you can go to, and my brain can't really comprehend that it's a lake and not just like an ocean. But I also just found out that this one, which is Lake Michigan, is actually longer than Scotland. It's 307 miles long and Scotland is 274 miles long. So that kind of puts it into perspective for just how big this lake is. We have made it to Bailey Homestead, which is a homestead. It was owned by a fur trader who used to trade with the local Native Americans. It is the last remaining trading post in this region, and is currently closed for rehabilitation. As you can see by these giant braces, they found some structural issues recently, and so they've closed it, but they're going to do renovation on it, and then it says that it might open up for overnight use, which would be kind of cool, getting to sleep in there. But they're also going to use it for like weddings, workshops and stuff. So unfortunately we can't go in. Still pretty cool. It was actually completed after his death in 1835, so he never got to live here. Joseph Bailey, he never got to live here. The brick house just over here was built for his granddaughter. Must have been a pretty nice area to live in. I'm gonna go peek in the windows. We're currently hiking to Bailey Cemetery. I guess they had some rain recently because it's a little muddy. Getting flashbacks to our hike in the Hillsborough River State Park back in January. But at least this time we're wearing our hiking boots. It's not too bad. We're just taking it slow because it's quite slippy. I'm gonna keep going and see if we can make it. After a very wet and muddy hike, we have made it to the cemetery. And when as we walked up, I thought that sign was going to say that it was closed. I was about to riot. It just says that NPS survey work in progress, please do not disturb. I don't know if they're actually here or if it's like things over time. It's at least open, so that's good. This is the family cemetery. We've got Joseph, his wife Marie, and then Rose was the granddaughter who the brick building was built for. And then, I don't know if, yeah, Francis Howe was her husband.
Yeah.
Wow, she outlived her husband by 41 years. She outlived her husband by 31 years. Apparently being a man in the olden times was treacherous. Or the women were just smarter. Probably that. I know how NIMBY this sounds, but it's a real shame that they built Route 12, which goes right along here, so close to this, because otherwise this would be such a peaceful cemetery. Like there's all these pretty purple flowers blooming. There's just trees in every direction, but the road is like 100 feet that way, so it's quite loud. And apparently you can go up there as well. So I'm gonna go see what's up there. If I can work out how to get up there. Oh, let's run this way. I figured it out. That's a cross. We're on the back half of the hike now, heading back towards the homestead, and we just walked through this really cute little valley. There's some stairs down and then a few bridges crossing the streams, and it's all really well maintained. Today we have it all to ourselves because nobody else is here, and it's a lovely day, but it is a Tuesday, so a lot of people are probably at work. Let's see what else we can find. On the back half of the trail, there is a working farm called Shellberg Farm. It might be Shellberg Farm. And they have some chickens, some goats. And there's a couple cows over there. I think they saw a horse, but I don't know where it is.
Huh? I thought it was a horse.
Okay. There are no horses. But it's kind of weird that you just like walk into this. It feels like you're walking through someone's house.
It's not privately owned. So this is a educational farm. They use it for teaching about the food production of animals and stuff. So it's not a private farm that somebody owns. This is actually owned by the National Park Service, and they educate groups of youth and schools and classes and stuff like that that come through.
After finishing up the hike back from the cemetery, we drove out of the park and went for lunch at Arby's, and then now we're back in the park and heading to the Houses of Tomorrow. These are houses that were actually built for the 1933 World's Fair, and after the World's Fair was finished, they moved them over here, and now people live in them. You can't actually go inside them because people do live in them, they are private residences, but they're in the park and you're allowed to walk outside them, so we're gonna go be creepers outside of people's houses. Another thing I thought I would say inside a national park, but here we are. So there are 5 homes of tomorrow, and they're all very different, which is pretty cool. They are, like I said, they're leased by private tenants, so you can't go in them, but you can look at them, which, I don't know, if I was renting a house or leasing a house, I don't know, I'd want people walking by staring in all the time. But I guess it's a pretty cool place to live, and the ones over here at least are lakefront, with lakefront views, so can't really complain too much. Doesn't tell you how much they lease for, but it tells you that how much they were built for originally, and the one just back here was affordable at $4,500, which in 2024 money is $108,000, so not sure how affordable that is.
And the most expensive one, the Florida home, was $15,000 at the time, so it'd be $320,000, something like that. So
I don't think they're renting them out cheap, that's for sure.
Not with that view.
Yeah, but it's cool that they've kept them. I mean, they're on the National Historical Register, so they'll be here for a while. Not that I think we'll ever be able to afford one, but it's nice to be able to come and look. And if you're wondering why the 1933 World's Fair sounds familiar, it's because that was the World's Fair from The Devil in the White City with the serial killer. True stories.
So we've made it to the final stop of our tour of the park today, Mount Baldy, and it is a 120-foot sand dune behind me here. It's actually called a living sand dune because it is moving constantly. It actually moves 4 to 6 feet a year, and it's moving in this direction. So within a few years, the parking lot will actually be covered. The Park Service is trying to mitigate some of that and slow it down by planting certain grasses and stuff. But it has been moving at a speed of 4 to 6 feet per year for many, many years. And the dune was actually formed 4,000 years ago. Fun fact.
We're on the Mount Baldy Beach Trail, which goes from the parking lot to the beach. It's very aptly named, but you have to go around the dune because you can't go over it anymore because they closed it because a small child fell into the dune in 2013, which I didn't know was a thing that could happen, but I guess now I have a new fear unlocked because they got trapped in like a tube in the sand and were stuck there for 4 hours.
It was actually, they've discovered since then that it was because the dune is moving, it was a tree that had been covered by the dune, and the tree decomposed and basically created this vertical shaft that went down 11 feet, and they could hear the child, but they couldn't see him. They did rescue him, and he is safe now, and they do not allow you on the dunes unless you're with a ranger now.
So that's a new fear to unlock next time you're walking over some sand dunes, that you might just fall in and suffocate. We just got back to the car after doing the Baldy Beach Trail, and it was a pretty good little hike. The beach was nice. There was a lot of people who were kind of heading down that way to just sunbathe, even though it's only 60 degrees.
Feels warmer.
It does feel pretty warm. And that's
Loki got to run in the water, so he was happy.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Good boy.
He went up to his chest and then no further because Loki can't swim.
That we think.
Well, Loki has never given
Attempted
himself,
to swim.
Loki's never attempted to swim.
So we're not sure if he can or not. It takes a lot of effort to keep that big head above water.
Yeah. But that's going to do it for our time in Indiana Dunes National Park.
Yep.
And we are heading back to the RV via the grocery store. And then tomorrow we are leaving, well, today we're leaving Indiana. Tomorrow we're leaving Michigan. And we're heading to Illinois for 3 nights and spending some time with our besties, Matt and Rachel.
So we won't be filming for the most part over those days, but we'll catch up to you when we're back on the road and heading towards South Dakota.
Yep, and we got 3 national parks to see, 3 more national parks to see before we get back to Seattle. So excited for those.
3?
Yes. Badlands, Yellowstone.
Oh,
Grand
Yellowstone!
Teton.
I forgot Yellowstone. I was so excited.
How do you forget Yellowstone? So we'll see you in the next one.
And this was number 17. So by the time we're done our trip, we'll have hit 20 national parks out of the 63.
Which is, as I said, it's more than a third. So we will see you in the next video.
It is not more than a third because there are 63.
Oh yeah.
A third would be 21.
More than a quarter.
Well done, you. Bloops.
Until next time.